Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to respond to Brother Wasim Ismail. He's a dear brother of mine, and I follow his work. It's wonderful. But I do want to add to this. He writes in response to the so-called, Muslims in Saudi Arabia who are practicing Halloween. So Brother Wissam addresses those Sufis who try and mock the Muslims in Saudi Arabia, blaming the Wahhabis and so forth, saying that how could they allow this to happen in Saudi Arabia. So Brother Wissam writes, quote, "To blame the so-called Wahhabis for the munkar that is happening in KSA and accuse them of the double standard of not allowing the Mawlid and allowing Halloween is beyond ridiculous. Sufis and Ashariya are parading this online. So which Wahhabi scholars approve of Halloween? Those scholars have rebuked such festivities, and some were jailed due to that. What else do you want them to do? Are those in General Entertainment Authority in KSA ones who claim to be Wahhabi or are concerned with Islam to begin with? If you want to compare, look at the masjids in KSA and learning institutions. Compare what they are learning and practicing with what the Sufis and Ashariya are doing in their mosques. Don't judge a body of Islamic scholarship based on what a few foolish ones have done when the majority of the country, let alone the scholars, are against what they are doing. Would you take pictures of a gay parade in Turkey and then blame the Sufi sheikhs, therefore allowing it to happen?" That's a wonderful point. It's a great point against these Sufis. It's perfect. It's on point. However, that said, I'm not going to let this go off the hook, and I'm going to say that I constantly hear Muslims say, and this is only a video to advise Brother Wissam, and I'm pretty sure he'll agree with me, and that is that there are many Muslims saying, oh, look, 98% of the Muslims in Saudi Arabia against this. It's only 2% who are going out and doing this. Fine. Here is the problem I have. The problem that I have is, regardless if scholars are writing against this, regardless if majority of the Muslims against this, how on earth does 2% of the minority have the courage to do this? How do they have the courage to do this? You live in a majority Muslim nation. 98% are against this. Where is the public pressure? Where were the scholars and their students? Why didn't they say, go to the streets, demand to stop this fahisha, demand to stop this shirk? They write beautiful articles, do the good and forbid the evil. That you shouldn't sit back. All their articles, the Salafi articles, they all say you shouldn't sit back. You shouldn't say we don't judge. We keep to them be their sins. No. Their articles preach that you should, what? What does it say? You should first speak against it. You should first stop it with your hand. If you can't stop it with your hand, you speak against it. And if you can't do that, the least iman is hated in your heart. Where was the first premise implemented? Did we see any protest from the Salafi brothers? 98%! 98%! Did they come out And then you'll say, oh no, brother, we can't because, the government is on the side of this and there will be killing and the government will, come out and jail these people. Hang on a second. Okay, then, where was the peaceful protest? Let's believe, okay, you'll be condemned and you'll be killed and the tyranny will come and shoot you in the street. Okay, where was the peaceful protest then? So I don't want to hear the excuse, we would have been confronted. You didn't even do the peaceful protest. You could have gone there to do diplomacy and spoke to their leaders, spoke to the organizers. Where was that active partition? And suppose some got killed in the path of Allah. Isn't this martyrdom? Suppose you went there to stop them by force. You could have got killed. I thought you believed in the Akhirah. I thought you believed in martyrdom. So, brother, what I'm trying to say is it is a sickness in the ummah. It is a disease in the ummah that forget about the West. The Muslims in the heart of an Islamic land, in that land, the Muslims have become too relaxed. Way too relaxed. They always accuse the Westerners, the Muslims in the West, saying, you don't forbid the evil. But in your own land, you don't do enough to forbid the evil. Saying you forbid the evil on the mimbar is not enough. You need to actively respond. So that 2% doing that sin is a reflection on the 98% they have no respect for you. There's no respect. It's like the naughty child with the parent. When the child is very naughty, it's a reflection on the parents. What kind of discipline? Does the child have respect for the parents? One will question the parents. What kind of discipline? That 2% is the child. It has no respect for the parent, the 98%. It no longer respects you. And as the Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith, you'll be many, but you'll be like the scum, the froth on the ocean. They said to the Prophet, why? He said, it is because they love the dunya and they fear death. So don't say, 90% is against this. 90%, 98% is rubbish. If they stuck on Islam, wallahi, that 2% that goes out and commits that kufr and shirk would be ashamed, would be embarrassed. They will tremble in their feet. They won't even dare to go out there and do what they do publicly and openly. But they know that the 98% is filth, is rubbish. It's the foam of the ocean. The foam, the scum of the ocean. They have no respect for it anymore. It does make me angry because if this can happen in the lands of Islam, where Islam came and originated, if it happens there, then what's left? What's left? So when a gay parade happens in Saudi Arabia and only 2%, you're just going to sit back there? You're just going to sit back and say, 98% are against it and scholars always write against it. So what? You're safe now. You're no longer responsible anymore. Then allow the gay parades to happen then too. Let the gay Mardi Gras come there too then. It is true, Allah gives the people a leader it deserves. So those leaders those tyrant leaders who are imprisoning those scholars that you say, those scholars now deserve a leader, those tyrant leaders that they deserve, because they're not actively doing enough. Sitting on the mimbar and saying it is haram is not enough. It's time for action.